the sixth studio album by the American rock band The Doors, released on April 19th, 1971. It's older than me, Brad. It's older than you.
Yeah. Well,
It's the last. It's the last to feature lead singer Jim Morrison during his lifetime, due to his sudden death exactly 2 months and 2 weeks following the album's release. That's all anyone knows about this album. It's going to be a short podcast.
I don't know. I feel like there are depths to it that we're unaware of at the moment. I didn't realize it was so soon after it he was dead. 2 months, you say?
2 months, 2 weeks.
Yeah. And
I've read other sources that said 3 months and stuff, but I don't know. Going with this one, could be right, could be wrong.
The other sources that think Jim's still alive, right? Because he's Mr. Mojo Rising, of course.
Yeah, that means he can't die.
Faked his death and he's living somewhere. Or maybe he's like natural causes dead now. Because, well, I don't know. He was 27. We know that much. He's in that stupid fucking club.
Yeah. The only one I believe who is supposed to have died but is actually rumored to be alive, the only one I believe is Hitler. I think he's around.
Oh, you think he's in Antarctica and the hollow earth with all the alien weaponry?
No, he's retired to Florida.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That's where most ex-Nazis go. It's Florida.
Yeah.
It's nice. Oh, man, that was Borat. That wasn't German. Fucking hell. I haven't done this for a while.
Ja, hello. I'm Adolf. Just relaxing on holiday.
So sunny.
Yeah, don't mind me. Yeah.
There's so many summer camps in Florida. I love a good camp.
I love your tattoo. Did you get a little number? Yeah. So are you a big Doors fan? Because I think you always go on about this shit a bit.
Yeah, I do like the Doors, but more of a. I probably should have I chose this week's album, Constant Listeners. I should have picked their debut album, but I guess it's nice to mix it up too, which I think is their best album, their first one. But this one, there's always been something about it. Maybe just the singles that appealed, like LA Woman and Riders on the Storm, I think are classics. I think they've weaved their way into the consciousness of the world. You can put them in a soundtrack to a movie or say it to a person who's been living in a shoe and they might know what it is.
Yeah. I was reading what the critics said, and they said this is either...
They fucking hated it, didn't they?
Yeah, generally hated it at the time, but a lot said return to form and back to their roots of their earlier efforts as well, because it got a bit string sections and pompous, and then they tried to tie it back on this one.
Yeah, soft parade and stuff, lots of horns, and like this one, I know that they just got them all in a little tiny room and did it live for the most part, and you can hear it. It's four guys that have been. I think they may have spent too much time together, and their singer was maybe kind of over it and just starting to go off the deep end of alcoholism.
From what I'm reading, he kind of ended tours from being drunk on stage, or at least one tour, and he sort of said, "Sod it, I'm off." And then I think the keyboard player convinced him to come back for 6 months, and then he finally croaked 2 years later or something, or he quit 2 years later or something. Yeah, getting hazy on it.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I've always found, I don't know what my discovery of the Doors was, but I've always found them quite intriguing. I think Jim's one of the, he's one of the greats as when it comes to frontmen, whether you like him or not. I think he's, they the model of a modern rock star, you can sort of trace it back to Jim Morrison, I think. The leather pants and the swagger and the, I don't know. Just, yeah. You know, I'm a long-haired front man getting it done, whether it's your Scott Weilands or your, I don't know, your Eddie Vedders, even maybe a little bit of Axl, you know? That's not a direct reference, but the leathers maybe. Yeah. Geez, trying to think how I did find out about the Doors. I remember being 14
the
years
movie.
old. Yeah, no, it wasn't. I do remember the movie, but that wasn't my introduction. I was maybe kind of aware, but I remember at high school being like 14, and I can't remember her name for the life of me now, but there was like a group of us hanging out, and the chick was like, nah, I don't want to hang out. I'm going to go and hang out with Jim. And I was like, who the fuck's Jim? And she's like, it's Jim Morrison. I'm just going to go and put my headphones on and listen to the Doors. And at the time I thought, fucking, you know, who does that at 14? But then looking back, I guess she was just ahead of her time. You know, she just wanted to zone out, listen to the Doors. I thought it was stupid at the time.
I don't think I'd ever really heard of them. I think I'd heard Riders on the Storm on the radio a couple times as a kid. And then the movie came out, and that was like a bit of a cultural phenomenon at the time. All the cool kids thought the Doors were the best thing ever. And I just kind of thought it was a bunch of shit. I just thought it was pompous, and the guy was just full of him. Ian Morrison was just a full of himself idiot.
Yeah.
And I thought a lot of the music just sounded cheesy and shit to me. I don't really.
Okay. Yeah.
I lost it.
I figured you wouldn't like this much, but that's part of the joy of our podcast too. Okay. And then, so for rediscovery, how did you feel like putting this one in and hitting play? What was your, oh God, I've got to listen to this. How did that go down?
I turned it off after 3 songs. First time I put it on, I'm like, fuck all this shit.
What's, I don't even know what 3 songs in is.
I don't know. It's kind of, for me, it's got that blues thing, right? The blues. It's got good bluesy kind of vocals. It's got a big deep voice. It's kind of somber music, but then it's got these keyboards going.
Yeah.
I just can't get around it.
I think
hard stuff.
Like the Doors are when we've done many bands like this. The Doors, I dig the Doors, right? I really like their thing and their aesthetic, but mainly the singles. You know, you get yourself a Doors greatest hits album and you're set. You know, you got your break on throughs and your the ends and you know what else they do. Backdoor Man, 5 to 1, right? You got your hits. But like, even for me, I've had LA Woman on vinyl forever, but not often does it get spun because it does feel like there's a bit of filler, you know? It's like, all right, we've got a contract to fill. We need an album. We've got a couple of good songs, and the rest is Jim just warbling away.
Well, there was a producer, I forget his name. He produced the first 5 albums. He started producing this album, and he walked out partway saying songs are shit. What the fuck? I was reading a lot of the songs were from around the first album time that just kind of were, I don't know, jams that got put away and they brought it out.
Yeah.
But really, for me, nothing really stood out as bad. There's the hit songs, you know, but the other stuff is just kind of, I don't know, for me, not much different, really.
Well, I guess it's tough for both of us really doing, and a lot of our albums have come out. We weren't there at the time, right? So we're listening back to a period that, you know, we're just sort of going off with movies or whatever that we thought it was like at the time. If you think 1971, you know, the Beatles had broken up, Zeppelin's going on. These guys if this was their last album, when did they start kicking off? 66, 67 maybe? So another like short flash in the pan band, you know?
It's been a bit before that because they wrapped up around 70 and to do 6 albums.
Yeah, I can't imagine them in 65 though. Like, when did that? Hang on, I'll look it up when their first album came out. You talk for a bit.
The thing I remember about.
Sorry, I clicked in real fast. So you carry on and then I'll tell you.
You've just dragged this out even further.
Okay, it was 67. Fuck you. That came out 67. So they're only 4 years.
6 albums in 3 years, 4 years.
Fuck that. They're pumping that shit out.
They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, play some blues, boys. I'm gonna sing. We're gonna put that shit out.
Well, yeah, let's say when the movie came out, Oliver Stone and Val Kilmer, huge rage thing about it. And I remember saying to a friend, I don't fucking get it. And a friend said, well, his parents told him that back at the time, no one fucking knew who the Doors was really. They were kind of like a B-tier band. Until he died, and then all of a sudden there was a huge thing about it. Then it was
comment.
And I went home and I said to my mum, told my mum that, and she said, "Yeah, that's what we thought." Maybe that was just New Zealand, and they weren't a band that quite caught on down here at the time. That happens.
Yeah, very American, I reckon. Like California, I reckon these guys would have been massive at the time. But you know, like I guess if you took any big Kiwi band, and this is, I mean, maybe it's not the best reference, but take like I know they made it. I was going to say like Crowded House or Split Ends, but they made it. Super Groove, are they a good Kiwi band? I don't know. One of those Tadpole and Fur Patrol, those bands that had hits here, number ones here, but nobody in any other country would have ever heard of them. They just needed to die. The lead singer needed to die, and then they'd get commercial success.
Super Groove didn't get out of the country, did they?
No, I reckon
they might have played 1 or 2 gigs in Australia and got kicked back.
Let's go make it in Melbourne, boys. Yeah.
Tadpole wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Golden Horse wouldn't have gotten anywhere. Remember them?
Betcha Duper? No.
Fucking shit. No, fucking don't even know why people in New Zealand liked it. Like, they didn't have, there's no redeeming qualities to that shit.
It's all, you know, who his dad was. Good
Rubicon.
Shoot.
That was dog shit. Oh, fuck me.
Was. Who
That's everywhere.
Kid Bruce anyway.
Oh, what a dog shit album.
It was a terrible time for New Zealand music, but
there's a lot of it. We were supposed to like it.
Yeah. Well, at least, I mean, but at least there was pop, punk, rock and stuff that was in our genre. Whereas now I think Kiwi music's all just, there's a lot of hip hop and like that. I don't know.
No one gives a shit about New Zealand music. We've got an international audience. This is the biggest podcast in the world, Brad. Let's not drag things down with New Zealand shit. We're not talking about Weta here. God. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, hey, everybody works at Weta. We got this accent. You got a job.
I meant Weta the band.
Oh, fuck, they were a band too. I was talking about Weta Workshop, which did far better things for the world than the band Weta.
Yeah, not as well known as Pointless and Confused, but carry on.
Yeah, it's tough. Well, I was trying to get back on topic there. I don't know what I'm saying. The singles off this, so like Love Her Madly, LA Woman, and I think they did put The Wasp out, which I never really liked. And Riders
What
on
did
the
this
Storm.
fucking prick die of anyway? Like, it seems pretty. They never did an autopsy. He was just a bit of a drunk, and then he fucking just died one day.
Yeah, I remember looking into it. He just pumped so much shit into his body that his heart went, "Fuck you, Jim. I'm out." He had a heart attack in a bath. Yeah,
he was LSD and all that stuff as well, was he?
Oh, mate, he was everything, and a lot of women, a lot of like fluids being taken out of his body. You know, like living the life again, setting the precedent for all these future leather-clad boys and
Ah.
how you should live the life.
Was he a cocaine, heroin, kind of morphine, that
I
kind of thing?
well, allegedly, I don't want to speak to it. I think it was just like, yes, some of the hard stuff, but mostly just a drinker, just a fucking mega drinker. And if I'm wrong, which is often the case, please let us know in the comments or send us an email to Dan's account at pointlessandconfused.com.
That is Dan's, no apostrophe,
Mm.
cunt, one word.
Yeah.
At pointlessconfused.com.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Because apostrophes won't work in an email address. So don't do that. It's stupid.
Yeah. What's all right, I'm just going to segue away here. I saw Anne Hathaway. You know her? Anne Hathaway?
Big boobs. Showed them several times in movies.
Absolutely.
Gold old. No one wants to cast her in anything anymore.
Yeah. Probably because of, I don't know, boobs.
Boobs are sagging, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say that as a feminist. Carry on.
She made a joke, and it was something along the lines of, what's 6.9? Question mark. A good time ruined by a period.
Oh.
That's a thinker, isn't it? Right. Moving on. I think one of the greatest songs, it's on all my mixtapes, and I love it. It's the best driving song of all time. And the reason why this album needs to exist is LA Woman. I think it's a fucking banger. Sweet but rumbling bass line. Simple drums, and then the organ comes in. And it's Jim at his best, man. It's all guttural. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently they got two guys that were Elvis Presley's bass player and Elvis Presley's guitar player to fill in the background to play on this record.
Oh, yeah.
And Jim Morrison was stoked because he was a huge Elvis fan.
Presley guy. Yeah.
He was also very happy to be doing more of a blues type album as well. He was really, really happy about it. Of course, he drank himself to death and died.
Yeah. Well, he seems like he'd been drinking. It feels like he'd been drinking heavily. He'd grown this sweet beard. He'd put on quite a lot of like booze weight. And then he, drunkenly got his way through this album. And then he just went, fuck it, I'm out. I think it was 2 days after they finished recording, he went to Paris. It was something like that, like real soon after he just bailed. Yeah. And essentially had left the band. And then he died in the bathtub. And I can't remember how many years after it was, but they put out another Doors album made up of sort of outtakes from the studio, whether it was from this album or other ones. And he'd recorded hours of poetry in a studio while he was in Paris. He just went and sat down, and essentially Jim Morrison is the father of podcasting, right? He sat down at a mic and just blurted out his poetry, right? And so they took bits out of that and re-edited the tapes and added some Doors music behind it. And that's the Doors, I think it's called An American Prayer. There's a photo of like Jim on the cover. And that, surprisingly, I'm going to recommend to, if you want to get a little bit avant-garde, but it's actually pretty kick-ass for like a poetry album. There's one called An Ode to My Cock. And that's brilliant. I think you should all go and check that out. I don't know if that's on Spotify. It should be, but it's on the record. An American Prayer.
So why was he unhappy? Why is he a drinker? What was wrong with him?
You know what all those people say about alcoholism? Oh, it's just in my genetics. My dad was a fucking drinker, so I'm a drinker too. Pass the whiskey.
I didn't read anything about him having family problems or dad beating him up or anything like that. I mean,
Well, see, this is pre like uh hate media, where the media was out to get you in trouble. It kind of started when Paul McCartney was like, "Oh yeah, I did some LSD. What do you want to do?" Oh, man, that's not Paul McCartney. Uh, Paul McCartney's admitted that he did LSD, and he said to the media, "Well, it's up to you whether you print this or not." Right? And then that's kind of where it started. The media going, "Oh yeah, I'm going to make these guys look stupid, and we'll be awesome, and we'll get clicks." And of course, it's just skyrocketed from there to what it is now.
the hell are you talking about?
I
Why
don't
is I'm
fucking
happy
know.
about, Like, what the fuck? You could say that. God. Jesus.
What it is pointless and it's very confusing.
Oh, God. Yeah. I don't know. I was just kind of wondering. I was reading, he was saying that when he was a small kid, they drove through a Indian reservation and a truck had crashed and there were
Mm,
and in their words, they called it dead Indians were scattered on the ground and they were bleeding and dying. And Jim Morrison says that the souls of the bodies of the dead Indians um, flew into his body and he accepted them.
mm.
And then his family said, well, he talks a lot of shit. Oh, yeah, we did drive along an Indian reservation and there was a dead Indian on the side of the road, but like it wasn't a big deal. He seemed a bit upset by it, but we just kept driving. And his sister said something like, oh, I don't remember any of that nonsense. And she said that he likes to make shit up and exaggerate everything.
Oh, yeah, that's being a rock star, though, right?
Yeah, just you got to say something in an interview.
So, I mean, while we're on that dead Indian topic, his words. Um,
Yeah.
On the aforementioned
Native American is the proper
poetry album.
term. Yeah.
I don't know what the proper term is now. I'm just going to say them. Uh, there is a poem on that American Prayer where he talks about exactly what you're talking about, and it's called Dawn's Highway.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah. It's a good one. And the song Ode to My Cock, I'm sorry, I think it's called Lament, and it is on Spotify. And because we are running out of time, I do want to say, do you think, or I feel, that the best interpretation of Jim Morrison is not in The Doors by Val Kilmer, but it's in Wayne's World 2. I'm not sure who the actor is, but Wayne meets Jim Morrison in the desert with a half-naked Indian guy.
I can't remember that at all.
Great film. Great film.
No, it wasn't. I remember Wayne's 2 was a serious drop off in quality, and Wayne's World
2?
1 wasn't that great anyway.
No, I'm sorry. I think 2's, or it might be one of the rare occasions where the sequel is better than the first one.
On the Spotify, on the song Skippability, really, it's Riders on the Storm, Love Her Madly, and LA Woman. Riders on the Storm, 358 million listens. Love Her Madly, 142. LA Woman, 136. And no one gives a shit about any of the other songs.
Yeah, that's it.
That's kind of our review that everybody agrees with. 3 songs, rest can fuck off.
Yeah, well, I don't know about fucking off. Like, they have their place. Like, if you're going deep on the Doors, this is a pretty, it's who they were as a band at the time, I guess. It's them in a room making music. You're not a Doors fan, but there was some controversy a couple of years ago. I think it was like 2020, maybe? No, it's just pre-COVID. They remixed and re-released all the Doors albums, right? They do it with the Beatles, and usually it's a remaster, but in this case it was a full-on remix. And everybody was angry. Nobody was happy, fans or non-fans. What they did essentially, they spread the stereo and made all the instruments sound better. But then they put Jim's vocals really high in the mix. So it was almost to the point of, fuck, it's really in your face, too much. And it was, people did not buy it in droves. Maybe it wasn't, they just didn't like the Doors.
You know what? It makes me so happy that Metallica are still cranking, still playing selling out concerts, selling out stadiums, still putting out albums that are great. And they haven't gone down the road of just butchering all their shit and tell-alls and fucking.
All right, they'll get there. They
They
did some
haven't.
kind of monster. That was pretty painful.
Some bitch selling their diary. What? Yeah, I mean, some kind of monster. Like, seriously, it's not that bad. Fuck's sake.
Yeah, it's a painful watch, mate.
Could do
You
with a
do
bit
it
of an
once.
edit.
It's like watching a train wreck. You do it once, and you're like, okay, I got through that. You never want to do it again.
You talking about the movie or the
Yeah, the movie.
album?
There was the album. The album was Saint Anger, wasn't it? No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it
The
confused.
movie.
Saint Anger wasn't even, for a low point, wasn't that low. The Load albums are great. Oh, damn it. Load albums are great.
Can we get through an episode without Metallica taking over? I know they're your favorite band of all. Oh, who's your? I mean, there's peek behind the curtain. Who's in a fight, in an air fight? Who would you choose, Metallica or Faith No More?
Metallica. I mean, James Hetfield's going to beat everybody up in Faith No More. No problem,
Well, not
aren't
an
they?
actual fight. I'm talking about which band do you prefer. So is Metallica like your A plus A1 band? Is that the of all time?
So Metallica have just had the staying power. They've kept together. They kept cranking out. They're still making good stuff. They haven't fallen into the finger pointing thing. They keep it classy all the way. There's no tell-all books. There's no bitch ex-wife selling your diary after you're dead. I'm like, oh God, that's disgusting. Courtney Cox. What's her name? Courtney Love?
Courtney Cox.
Yeah.
Oh, the tell-all on Friends with Courtney Cox.
No, Courtney Love selling Kurt Cobain's diary. God, that's awful. You're awful.
You got to keep the meal train coming.
Oh, fucking drug addicts.
You have to pay someone to shoot him in the head. Yeah.
No class.
No fingerprints on the gun.
It's like Frances Bean seems like a lovely girl. That's what I'm saying.
She's just signed a record deal. So
good on her. Good on her.
Yeah, she can put out an acoustic covers version of Nevermind.
She's doing her. I hope she keeps it classy. She just does her own stuff and keeps it clean. You know, she just trots along.
She's gonna sound like Lord.
No, she's not gonna stick her nose in the trough like her mother and just fuck it up.
Yeah. I am Lord. Yeah.
Lord, good for one album, and then dog shit after that.
Yeah. Wow. Good for a couple of songs, probably. Right, what are you rating this son of a bitch while we're on it? The LA Woman by the Doors that we didn't really talk about much. 5? 5.
Who gives a fuck? I don't know. It's kind of for me. I know why people like it, but it's not for me. And I didn't find it. Yeah, I warmed up to it more at the end, but still find it a bit tra la 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 over top of the blues. Yeah,
right. Talented musicians. I like that. I'm finding it's hard to separate like the album from the band. Like the band, I think is a solid 8 out of 10. Doors. But the album, I'm gonna have to give it a 7, and that score's only up there because of the Riders on the Storm. I think is one of the greatest songs of all time. That's like definitely in my, if we had top 50 songs, it's up there. Oh, that's so good, man. Doodle-doodle-doo, doodle-doodle-doo, doo-doo. Like fucking amazing. It's just so, and the bass line, boom, 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 boom. It's great. So yeah, it's a 7. Jim Morrison's cock out on stage in Miami out of 10.
Yeah, keep it classy, Jim.
Keeping it classy, Jim. Yeah,
Mr. Bogo Roger.
The ceremony is about to begin.
Is it?
Here's my cock. Yeah.
I'm a poet. Here's my cock.
Here's my cock. Yeah.
Here's a poem
Listen
about
to my
cock.
words, everybody. Listen to my words. I'm a prophet. Here's my cock. What do you think of this? What do you think of this? Yeah. Is this all right? Does this look okay to you? This seems odd to me.
It's fine, isn't it? Like, do you think I should see a doctor about my cock or
Is it
what?
straight enough? Is it straight enough for you?
It's bent like a banana.
I don't know. Are the balls supposed to hang lower than the other bit?
They're hanging far too low, Jim. That's weird.
Is this normal? Hey guys, can we stop recording for a second? Can you come over here and
Anything lower than the knees is just wrong, Jim.
let me get my leather pants down. I'm a bit sweaty, so they might take a minute to get off. But can you just have a look at this for me? Yeah, sorry, it's the 70s. I'm still really hairy.
We're looking at it.
You see it? Let me just move the bush aside.
That's
What do you think?
incredibly wrong.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's
This why you write about lizards.
it's a white lizard, a very veiny white lizard.
Looks like
Perhaps
a gecko staring at me
perhaps-
funny with one eye.
Perhaps an alligator.
Mm.
The handbag.
You should get a doctor to look at your balls.
And I mean, while my pants are down, how's my anus?
That looks good. That's fine. That's fine.
Bring
Yeah, no
This is a
problem. Let
good
me.
time.
I'll just scooch this to the side. No, that's great.
the stool in closer. It'll get your nose in there.
I'm looking. That's a good anus. Pretty.
Hey,
I'd call it
Hey.
pretty